Do you feel like bedtime has become a battle, especially if you're a parent of a toddler, and if you feel like it's just a really battle to get your little ones to calm down long enough to go to sleep? You're not alone. As a pediatrician, I talk to parents all the time who are having a hard time getting their little ones to calm down long enough to go to sleep, and making it where bedtime is difficult. The process takes a really extended time, extending, stretching into the wee hours of the night. So today I'm going to come in and talk about and share about the most common reasons why toddlers may be having a hard time to fall asleep, and what you can do as a parent to help your little ones sleep. So if this is your first time here, hello, thank you for joining me. I'm Dr. Lumferndi. I'm a pediatrician, author and founder of Generational Wellbeing. I'd like for you to watch all the way to the end, because in this video, I will share simple practical tips that you can really help get your little ones to fall asleep. And even if not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, because on this channel, I talk about kids, all things kids, nutrition, sleep, behavior, and much more. So let's go into those reasons why our toddlers are not able to go to sleep. The very first reason is inconsistent bedtime routine. I talk about this almost all the time, because that inconsistency alone makes a huge difference. Our bodies have the circadian rhythm, the body clock, that helps with that. What consistently helps reduce the confusion. Now, if you're going to bed at different times, it creates a confusion in the circadian rhythm, because we're not sure what activity we're doing at any time. If we're going to bed at 7 p.m. one day, 11 p.m. the next day, there's such confusion where it is hard for the body to really calm down, because they don't know what we're necessarily doing at a certain time or on a certain day. The first thing is then creating a consistent bedtime routine to help the child's body clock to calm down when it needs to calm down and go to sleep. So if your family routine varies throughout the week, it might be a bit challenging, but you try to create certain consistency that fits with your family needs, but then limiting the variation in schedule. So let's say if your bedtime is like 8 o'clock, you want to not go beyond 9 o'clock or before 7 o'clock. So at least that 1 hour, 1 to 2 hour gap is acceptable here and there, but consistency really helps. Starting with a consistency is a big place to start. And when you're starting with consistency, I usually say start out with the wake time, because if your kid is sleeping at random times, you get up one day and say, okay, we're going to go to bed at 8 o'clock now. The body's not adjusted to it. It's just like 8 o'clock. We slept all the way through 11 maybe and took a nap not too long ago. So it would be difficult to start out that way. So usually I'll start out with the wake time. You want to have the consistency with sleeping and then wake time, because if they're more tired and they're used to sleeping later, once you're waking them up, you're extending that wake time, and then making it where they're a little bit more tired around the time that you're consistently trying to get them to go to sleep. The second reason is overstimulation. Unfortunately, we're at a time where there's stimulus running. There's things that are attracting our attention, our kids' attention everywhere, right? Screen time is one of them. Video games is another. Sometimes just the stories that they listen to and the things of playing with siblings and stuff. All of that goes to stimulate the brain. And when you have that overstimulation, it just takes a long time for that brain, that stimulation to help just to calm everything down. So that means that we want to reduce the stimuli right before bedtime, whether it's shutting down screen time at least an hour before bedtime, and replacing that time we're using to screen time, to replace them with calming activities like story times, whether it's reading bedtime stories or listening to soft music, or even drawing and coloring, dimming lights, and just activities that's kind of sending a signal to the brain that, hey, it's time to start shutting it down. It's time to start calming down and going to sleep, and pairing it up with activities like brushing teeth, bath time, and all of that stuff. So once you start out those activities over time, the brain is signaling to the brain that we're starting to get ready to go to sleep, whether it's starting with that bath time, brushing teeth, listening to soft music. So the play at that time and every activity at that time is meant to soothe and calm, and rather than stimulate or activate, because when we're going in that opposite direction with stimulation, active and overstimulation, then that really goes in the other direction where it takes you a longer time to calm. So more calming activities closer to bedtime will help. Another thing is suppression anxiety. Suppression anxiety usually peaks around 1 to 3 years of age, and most of those we see more so with kids who are having a hard time sleeping in their own beds. And sometimes it comes because they have nightmares or night terrors, or they wake up in the middle of the night, they go to parents' bed. Over time, they're scared. They don't want to be left alone. They don't want to sit in that room. And you will see kids who resist sleeping, or they'll only come to sleep with their parents, or they'll wake up in the middle of the night and come back into your bed. I've seen families who finally just like everybody sleep in the same room because we need to sleep too, right? If that's your case, if your kid is having nightmares or night terrors, you can write a story together about that nightmares and then tear up the paper and then it disappears, right? Or read a story that really talks about nightmares and calming stories that will give you tools on how to take care of it. What that does, it helps to calm and reassure the kid that stimuli is not there. So that's the mindset part of it. So we're taking care of the mindset. Sometimes you can give them some sort of a soothing thing that shows that I'm comfortable, just that reassurance, right? Whether it's a blanket or something that is stuffy or something that they hold on to that is kind of comforting and reassuring to say, hey, I'm here and I'm okay. Those are the two things that you can do if a kid is having some suppression anxiety or having issues with nightmares, like I'm scared of the dark. Sometimes you have some of those night lights in there. Make sure that the room is safe. Other reasons why they may be having a hard time is discomfort, right? Discomfort can come in 1 or 2 areas. They may have discomfort from an illness. Of course, most kids, sometimes you have that routine going and then suddenly they have a cold, suddenly something happens and that just messes things up because now they can't breathe at night and stuff like that. And those things will happen sometimes even when you travel, vacation, and that can disrupt your schedule, having it where you may have to restart everything all over again. The biggest thing is if the discomfort is coming from an illness or a sudden change, we just make sure we're addressing the breathing difficulty. If it's a congestion and cough allergy, making sure we're addressing the underlying issue and then going back to that consistency like we talked about in the first step. Or the discomfort may come from the environment. The environment matters a lot when it comes to sleep. So especially at this time of the year where it's cold, there's that tendency of trying to bundle up with so many blankets or wear those warm, fuzzy flannel pajamas and stuff like that. But sometimes there's some kids who are just hot-natured where they get hot or heated up underneath all those layers and they start sweating at nighttime and that can interfere and wake them up. Or sometimes even their bodies don't feel right with the textures of the clothing that they're wearing and then they wake up because of discomfort from whatever they're wearing. Pajamas is a big one. And even the beddings is a big one. So if it's the beddings that the way it's sitting on your skin, if it's not a nice cotton absorbent bedding, sometimes that can interrupt. Even the mattress can interrupt. So the environment really matters. So you want to look in and see, is it too hot for your kid? Is the pajamas locking in the heat? Are we really bundling them up? And then we're seeing where they're waking up more frequently because they're hot. Oh, they're in some sort of discomfort and we're thinking it's something else. So you want to pay attention. One of the things that I've seen during this time too is like a lot of heat rash. So a lot of times when that is the issue. We see that the kids over time start breaking out in this rash around your neck, around the groin areas and stuff where we're like, okay, maybe the temperature or the environment may be that thing that is causing the discomfort. So you want to troubleshoot, figure it out, and then fix the problem. And of course, if you're noticing that is some sort of underlying medical condition, you want to talk to your child's doctor about it. So those are the main things that I will see where the kids who are having a hard time, kids or toddlers who have, those are the main reasons. Of course, there are other things, again, the wake and sleep cycle, which we talked about. Now, what can you do then? What we've talked about is to improve your toddler's sleep is the first thing is having that consistency in the schedule, whether it's making consistent nighttime and consistent wake time. And the second thing is just making sure we have that calm bedtime routine to help them fall asleep. And then finally, you want to avoid any kind of stimulations before bedtime, whether it's through screen time with movies or video games, or making sure everything is more calming. And then, of course, addressing the environment meaning the temperature, the clothing, and the mattress and everything that could potentially interfere with the toddler's sleep. And of course, with all of these things that we talked about, I just want you to know that it takes time. It's not like a one-time thing that fixes it. So that bedtime consistency, it may take weeks before the body's system finally understands that, oh, this bedtime routine is the trigger to my brain that we're about to calm down and go to sleep. So consistency is really key when it comes to sleep. So you don't want to start and stop. You want to start slowly and kind of troubleshoot and figure out what's that thing that's interfering your child's sleep, addressing it and adjusting it. So this is really important because poor sleep, of course, can not only affect just our day-to-day activities, it can affect their growth, their mood, their behavior. It really spills into every area of their life. So it becomes really challenging if we don't really take care of it and address it adequately. So if you have a kid who has like restless leg or snoring and pausing during the sleep, they have that daytime sleepiness and fatigue, those are the things that you want to really go in and talk to your child's doctor about it so that it can address whatever that underlying issue may. Now, if the bedtime routine affects your child's worry or anxiety, I do have a book, The Worry Garden. It's a beautiful bedtime story that talks about those worries, and it's a really good illustration that helps you pick out those worry worms and help create a better calming bedtime routine. So grab your copy. I'm going to leave a link in the comment or description box. So if this video has helped you, please hit subscribe. And if you have a friend who has a kid who struggles with sleep, nutrition, behavior, don't forget to share it with them. That way we can help our kids and help raise thriving and healthy kids. Until next time, I'm Dr. Lum.